Thanks, Anka.
Good afternoon, everybody.
So we're kind of going to take it in turns to go through the presentation with you today. So let me just share my screen.
Well, my first question is, who has heard of Crew?
Hey, lots of hands. Okay, but for those of you who haven't heard of Crew, we just thought we'd start off by giving a little introduction to who we are. So we're a community-led nonprofit. We're actually known as a community benefit society. So that is a society that is nonprofit, but specifically working for the benefit of the community, as the name would suggest. And our work sort of covers two areas. We have low carbon projects that we run in community buildings. We've been doing that since 2017. The first one was with the Doddington and Rollo Community Association in Wandsworth. That was an LED lighting project. But we have other projects such as building management. So that's managing heating in different rooms at different times. It's kind of smart heating, heat transfer solutions, which make your radiators more efficient, solar panels, and more recently, heat pumps. So we're currently trying to raise a bit of money to get some heat pumps installed in a youth club in Battersea. So that's our main renewable heat thing at the moment. And in addition to these low carbon projects, we also have our Energy Cafe program, which is run by Alex. She's trained up all of our energy advisors to give people advice on how to save money at home, how to make your homes more energy efficient. And that is generally to support those who are in fuel poverty, those who have to choose between heating and eating, so they can't necessarily afford their energy bills. So that's our form of community outreach. And then another form is with some eco action games, which are giant snakes and ladders and energy games, teaching kids the value of your energy, how much is used in different areas of the house, which is kind of what we're going to do a little bit with you today. We've got a quiz, actually. So that's us. And we want to give you a bit of a taster on how our energy advice works. So the first question is, test your energy knowledge. Woo! How well do you know your homes and how much energy you use in them? So we're going to give a go at doing a poll. I've never used this before, so I'm going to try and use the polling. I think if you each go to your polling button, you've got a little quiz where you can play along with us, but we won't see the answers until the very end. So Alex, what we suggested that if it's not really working very well with the poll, we can just ask people to raise their hands if they think an answer is A, B, C, or D. So let's see how we get on. For the first question, what percentage?
Oh, go on, Amy.
Go on.
No, you go on.
What percentage of UK emissions come from the home? This is a little bit of a trick question because this was actually in the advert for this web chat today, so you should all know the answer.
Depends on how many people were taking notice, but I guess that's also so hi, I'm Alex. I'm one of the voluntary directors for Crew. I was just trying to remember how long ago it was actually. I came and did a training session for Sustainable Merton on energy advice and saving energy. That must have been about 4 years ago now, but gosh, yeah, time flies. Time flies. But when you think about how much this comes from domestic energy usage, it's not rolling into it the emissions that might come from transport, personal transport or anything. So this is just on the energy side.
I can see some answers coming in and I can't tell if that's because people have finished the poll or if they're just doing one answer at a time. Can you see them, Alex?
Oh, yes. So we've got, nobody's gone for 15%. Excellent. We've got a 25% going for 26%. We've got a third of you going, it's shifting a bit. We've got a third of you going for 29%. Oh no, we got 29% of you going for 33. Sorry, I'm slightly dyslexic, so I was getting my muddled numbers the wrong way up. There we go. Or 48%. So I will give you a little clue because it's the first question and you might not have had your lunch yet. It's getting on for 48% when you factor in transport emissions. So we're just looking at energy, domestic energy usage emissions. So this is a really important one. If you want to look at you reducing your carbon footprint, the quickest and easiest way, without even, I think I even said it on Twitter earlier, without breaking a sweat, is to shift your tariff to a green tariff, because a certain percentage of your personal emissions come from your domestic energy usage. So you can literally do your bit for the planet without breaking a sweat and probably 10 minutes on the computer. And often these days, we don't have to pay more for green tariffs if we know how to use comparison sites and switching. So we've got quite a few of you have, pretty much everyone submitted the answers now. So we've got let's have a look. We've got a neck and neck for first place. We've got the top two are either 26% for 45% of you, which is nearly half, going for 26%, and 45% of you going for 33%. Well, I'm happy to say that nearly half of you have got it right, and that is actually 26%. So coming from looking at your individual personal carbon footprint, quick and easy way is to shift your energy usage to a green tariff, but also that's when you can save energy and money by doing things differently in the home, by using energy efficiency behaviours and implementing energy efficiency measures. So, good start.
Yeah, and I think the energy efficiency measures probably brings us nicely onto the next question of how many times a year does the average UK household boil a kettle? A lot would be my answer. But I can see most people are going for the middle options, the safer options.
Yeah, I mean, you're slightly going to be skewed on this one because you'll be thinking, wow, if you're a prolific tea drinker, then it might feel a lot more. Whereas if you don't like your hot beverages, then it might feel less. So you know, we're going to be skewed a little bit on this one. But let's see what we've got coming in. So we've got a fairly equal split on two of them. That's quite interesting. So we've got 38% of you going for around 900 times, and 38% of you going for about 1,500, with a little bit either side going for the small one or the huge one. Well, Amy, do you want to have a guess? Can you remember? I did this quiz with Amy, like, how long ago did you get brainwashed by me in a training session, Amy?
Probably about 18 months ago now. So this is a long time ago. I would say 1,500. Oh, well done.
So proud. So we've got another volunteer from Crew on the call today as well. So she's more recently, I won't embarrass her in case she wants to say anonymous, but hopefully she will have remembered this answer more easily than Amy did. And I can see she's smiling. Brilliant. Okay, all right. So that's food for thought. And another little thought is just filling up the kettle with what you need. Filling it up to the top, or just putting in what you need for the actual cups of tea or whatever you're making, and just doing that tiny little tweak of a behavior, because it's quite an energy intensive thing to heat up all that water. It's actually cost quite a lot. So just by doing that little tiny behavior change, that can save between £10 to £30 a year, which that's quite a few tea bags, frankly. depending where you shop, of course. All right, okay, and so we've got an equal neck and neck there again. So interesting. Well, obviously it's a quite well-versed audience, isn't it? Which is what I would hope to see with sustainable. How about putting hot water into a spare thermos? Yes, I like it. I've recently bought a new mug, Ruth. This is my new posh mug, and you'll see it's got, I didn't prepare this, by the way, it's literally spontaneous. So I've got like an insulating cork bit on the bottom, and it's also got a lid on the top that sits on there as well. So when I'm nattering away, that my cup at home now will keep my drink for longer, keep the temperature, I forgot the key word there, being hot. Right, so this third question is about vampire energy, as we call it. How much energy would we save per year if everyone unplugged their mobile phone chargers when not in use? And that means switched off. That doesn't mean still plugged in. So if you've ever accidentally touched the plug and you're not charging your phone, you'll feel it's a bit warm, and it's only a little trickle charge of electricity into it. But when you think about, okay, well, how many people in the house, or you might live on your own, or you might be like a big family unit. But if you think about how many mobile devices, I mean, I'm embarrassing because I'm supposed to sort of be semi decent on the carbon emissions, but I probably have a bit too many gadgets to really call myself a proper eco warrior. So if you think about extrapolating that out about how many households we've got in the UK, and then by how many devices, we're getting onto quite a high number. So we've got 1,500, 15,000, 115,000, or 1,150,000. I did not know that, Gabriel. You can get kettles where you now define how much the water gets heated to. Wow. Don't tell me I can't buy any more green gadgets. I just said I've got to stop trying to buy gadgets. Oh no, I'm going to go and look at those now. I know what's happening after this call. All right, so let's see how we're doing on the voting, on the poll. Let's have a look. Okay. Oh, this has got a bit more of a obvious leader. So we've got how many? Oh, hang on. Let's get to the right question, Alex. There we go. So we've got in last place the lowest amount of households. Oh no, the second to last place. Well, let's do it the other way around. The winner is 115,000 homes for a year. Now I'm trying to remember how many properties there are in Merton. I can't do that maths, as I said. I'm a bit dyslexic on the old maths, but it's a good, that's a good. Oh, wow. I mean, talk about a knowledgeable audience. That would basically power on a kind of, the basic power needs for more than there are as many houses and properties there are in Merton. If everybody in the UK turned off at the plug or unplugged at the wall all of their mobile devices.
Yeah, that's a good one. I've started charging my phone in the morning rather than overnight, because then when you're charging it, once it's full, it keeps using power, but it's not going anywhere because your phone's already at capacity.
Well, I did feel a pang of worry when you said that, Amy, because I thought, she's not one of these people that thinks it's cheaper to do it overnight or not overnight or whatever, because some people, they can remember when economy 7 was more prevalent, and that's cheaper to put on your washing machine at night or whatever, but actually that's only for people on economy 7 or economy 10 tariffs at the moment. But what with smart meters and moving towards reducing demand related tariffs coming quite soon, hopefully, touch wood, then it means that people will be able to, if they're not using their energy usage much between say 4 and 7 or whatever the tariff will be, but they've done it before that or after peak times, then they'll get rewarded by having less pricey energy. So yeah, that's coming to a screen near you. All right, so go on then. Do you want to read out the next question, Amy?
Yeah, this one, the wording is a bit awkward. Energy saving light bulbs save on average how much over their lifetime? So is this energy saving or LED or the same thing?
Aha, good point. With your LED hat on. So traditionally, the curly CFL bulbs, they save around 80% of electricity compared to incandescent bulbs. But over the last, 5 years in particular, the price of LED bulbs has come down so much now that there's pretty much not quite parity, but they're so kind of affordable now that people, we've got them all over the place. So they use 90% less energy, and you don't get that sometimes slight delay with the kind of getting to full brightness like you used to with the old CFL. So this figure is kind of going to be a similar answer. It was based on CFLs, but so it's kind of a ballpark. We'll take it down the middle for a mixture of CFLs or LEDs, because it's not very environmentally friendly just to get rid of loads of CFLs if they're not at the end of their lifetime, for example, because we don't just think about stuff in a little vacuum of, okay, we've got to be totally energy efficient, and we've also got to think about the kind of whole environmental impact a bit more.
Yeah.
But we're obviously energy geeks over at Crew, because we're all about the carbon and energy saving, but we do think about other things. Thank you, Amy. All right, so we got answers coming in. Aha, yes, 53% of you have gone for the right answer, which is £55. So that's at the top end. You could sort of squeak in if you put £47 if you had a whole house with LEDs, for example. So essentially per bulb, you can save up to kind of 8, 9, sometimes £10 a year per bulb. So that obviously kind of payback period has come down because as the price of LEDs has come down. All right.
Okay,
question 5.
Which of these statements is not true? So the average family could save an average of £10 a year by only filling the kettle up with the water they need. Oh, Alex maybe gave you a bit of a hint to that one a little earlier. £65 a year by turning the thermostat down by 1 degree. £60 a year by switching to energy saving light bulbs. Oh, we've just done that one as well. So these are all, we're testing your knowledge now. £320 a year by insulating. We've not covered that, but we will in a little while. £93 a year by using energy efficient appliances, or all or none of the above. So I'm assuming people think it's all instead of none, if they've answered with that.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Let's have a look. Oh, yeah, that's very badly worded, isn't it? I must have been tired. That's all I can say. So we've got a little vote for the filling the kettle up. A couple of votes for £65 a year by turning the thermostat down by 1 degree. Switching to any LED light bulb or energy saving bulbs, that's looking at a kind of average amount of light bulbs across the whole house. It's not just one, which was the example I gave you a minute ago. Nobody's gone for insulation, and nobody's gone for the energy efficiency light appliances, and then all or none of the above has got I think it's because I normally do this question verbally in a group, so I think it's not quite translated to your Didn't know you were guinea pigs today, but there you are. You are. So the answer is, do you know, Amy?
No.
I'm not trying to embarrass you in front of people, just trying to make it a bit more fun.
Yes, but in the interest of seeing what everyone else put, I won't tell you.
All right, good plan, like it. Actually, they're all true.
Wow.
They're conservative numbers, but they are all true. So the £65 a year by turning the thermostat down by 1 degree, that obviously depends on the size of your bill in terms of how much it costs per kilowatt hour. And funnily enough, most people don't know that off the top of their head. But it can be anything between £65 to £85 a year. And I don't know about you, but I can't feel the difference between, say, 19 and 20 degrees. So just thinking about that, I think that's quite a good one, because it makes it a lot more tangible for just that slight shift towards being more kind of energy aware. You can actually, that's quite a few LED bulbs you could buy with that amount of money.
Definitely. And is it right that LED bulbs last for 20 to 25 years?
Well, I would say on average 15 to be conservative, but yeah, they can do. Some of them have got different levels of guarantee with them, but that depends. That tends to be the more expensive ones.
Yeah. Okay, I'll end that poll then. I got 17 out of 19 in the end, but I think we've had all the answers, so I'll end it. But thank you everyone for being our guinea pigs. And that worked fairly well. No one's crying as far as I can see, so it's fine. So
we've got some fellow energy geeks in the room as well, I think, Amy.
I think so too. So that was how well do you know your own home? I think the next slide maybe is a bit of a follow-on to the polls. So it's how much energy do you think escapes from different parts of the home? So we've got the roof, the windows, and the walls, drafts. Which one do you think is the highest? I mean, Alex.
Oh,
no.
I think I might know. Yeah, years of banging on about this stuff. Yeah, it's probably nearly as old as you are, Amy, frankly. So if anyone would like to put in the chat any guesses, or you'd like to sort of make a...
Yeah, so this is where the most heat escapes from, would be the roof, the windows, drafts around your windows and doors, or the walls.
And as you all look so nice, I'll give you a little hint. It's not anything to do with those adverts which they used to have helicopters in them and soundproofing issues, and I think what else did they have? Yeah, that it's none of that marketing nonsense that makes you think the biggest place you lose the energy in the home. So let's see. Have we had
so far?
We got a couple of guesses. Roof or wall. So we've got, just to recap what the options are, we've got walls, roof, windows, drafts, floor.
Oh, floor. I forgot that one.
Oh yeah, with the Green Homes Grant, one of the insulation options you can go for to get it funded is using this robot called QBot that can go underneath the floor. Anyone seen this? It's so, I mean, there I'm off with the gadgets again, but yeah, so that can do help get in underfloor insulation done. So it doesn't mean you've got to have drafts.
Okay, we've got quite a few different answers, so I'm going to move forward so we've still got time for questions. But people may be surprised.
That's the
highest, isn't it?
Yeah.
So walls 35, roof 25, floor 15, it's quite low. Drafts the same as the floor. I wouldn't have known that. And windows the lowest of them all. Ta-da! So I'll go to the next slide.
Why don't I have you every time I do this quiz? I want someone to go to that every time.
I know. This is just interesting, I think, to see where most of the energy in the home is actually going. So in the UK, you can see that it's on entertainment. It's the same in the US. Then if you consider our heating is 19% versus in the US 9%, obviously it's a much bigger country, so they have much higher variance in temperature.
And again, this has changed hugely in the last 5 to 10 years, because it used to be that heating was the largest. But this is based on electricity usage, not just the power usage, not gas as well, but kind of averaged out. It used to be heating, but with all of our gadgets and what have you, and PlayStations and set-top boxes, it's really shifted.
So that's kind of the same vampire energy with your TVs and DVD players and things like that. If they're left on, they're still using energy. So that's probably a big factor in that too. I don't know anyone who, well, I sometimes religiously switch my TV off at the plug every night, but not everyone will. So let's go on to the next slide.
My favorite gadget is my standby saver. One button, and like I think it switches off about 6 things all at once. Wow. And I'm just like, yes.
So we've tested the knowledge, and now we're going to give you some more tips on how you can actually implement your new knowledge and where you can make the most changes and how much money you can actually save from doing so. So here we go. Alex, I'll let you go through.
So we've got, you can buy kits called Radflex and other brands. I can't think of any off the top of my head. I normally try and give 3 to show a degree of impartiality. But if you fancied a strange little craft project one afternoon, you could get some corrugated cardboard, cover it in foil, put it down the back of your radio, and that'll effectively act the same as the Radflex packs, which kind of cost about £20. It's like thick foil basically, and that just helps reflect the heat back into the room, rather than it getting sucked out of the wall, going behind radiators. The others are pretty straightforward.
Well, things like draft proofing windows and doors, we actually have some guides to doing this on our website, so I could send the link to those blog posts. So that would be good. That's to help you do it at home. You can just buy the little strips.
I used to know 100 tips for energy saving around the home, going room by room. I don't think my memory's quite up to that, but just by looking at those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you can see if you start with the average bill is like £1,600 to £1,800 a year, you can start by shifting your tariff or companies. Then you shaved a little bit more off through doing energy efficiency things or getting discounts applied if you've got certain health conditions or disabilities or age or income level. Then you can start looking at energy efficiency measures as well to shrink that bill. Next slide.
Okay, next one is changes in behavior but no cost. So don't overfill the kettle, we've already mentioned. Turn appliances off and avoid standby. That is very high. I was surprised by that. Switch off lights when not needed. I think everyone on this call probably already knows that one. Wash clothes at 30 degrees. And some washing machines now actually let you wash at 20. So I think the misconception sometimes is that won't clean your clothes, but I'm not sure on the science behind that.
Yeah, there is a one brand that purports that it can wash at 10 or 15. I'm not going to name it because I don't like that brand, but yeah, so it's thought-provoking, isn't it? It's like, oh, but then I would probably still feel comfortable with doing towels and sheets at a higher.
Yeah, they do say to stick with those at a higher temperature. But.
Yeah. And then we've got a question, can we switch to LEDs directly, or does the bulb housing need changing as well? Normally it's just a straight swap, unless you had, I can't remember what they're called, the funny ones with the little kind of pins in them, or like, and there's still people around with kind of slightly odd housings, but even switching halogen spotlights in the kitchen's a really good one because they chuck out heat, and so that extra, same with the kettle idea, extra heat, more energy hungry, and so they make a really big difference switching halogens out for LEDs.
Yeah.
So those again, just 5 tips. You're we're shrinking that bill down a bit more.
Yeah, because we've got £150 here and we had 120 on the previous slide. So that's not bad for doing nothing or not paying any money. So then the final slide is for your more expensive options. So the things that you will have to spend money on, but that will save you money in the long run.
Yeah, and we've obviously not included if you wanted to start going down the route of microgeneration at home, whether it was some solar PV or a ground source heat pump or some another kind of technology along these lines. But there are pretty much either partial or full grants for some of this stuff, which we'll get on to. So it's not all doom and gloom, but some of it's quite relatively cheap. Like the draft proofing is a pain to do, to go around doing all your doors and windows and everything with the sort of draft proofing tape. But when you look at it, well, that can actually contribute to 10% of your bill. You start thinking, okay, I could sit and watch Netflix, or I can go and draft proof everywhere. What shall I do?
And obviously, energy you're saving is saving on carbon that would otherwise have gone straight out into the atmosphere. So energy efficiency is the way forward.
Exactly. And that's another good point, that when we want to look at doing, especially if you're looking at doing renewable intervention, whether it's electricity or heat, the first thing you need to do is make the home as efficient as possible. Oh, it does make you feel more comfortable. That's a really good point. We haven't talked about the health impacts either, of not just feeling comfortable, but actually it can affect not having the house. The main living area, if you're vulnerable, should be 18 to 21 degrees, but below 16, you're affecting your respiratory system. That's why we have more people getting, pneumonia and COPD, basically killing people in the winter. And then a few degrees below that, we get increased blood pressure, and that's the cardiovascular system getting affected, and that's why we get more heart attacks and strokes in this country every year. So it's not just, I do agree, Gabriel, putting an extra jumper on. The amount of times I've seen people like they get home and it's like they're wandering around in their sort of pants and socks. I'm like, oh yeah, put it up onto 30. It's like, well, just set fire to a £20 note, why don't you? Anyway, it's not just to judge, of course. I just judged, basically, didn't I?
I'm looking at the time, and I think the next slide was covering the Green Homes Grant, but we do actually have a handy video that our colleague Toby put together, which is on the Green Homes Grant. So I think it might actually be easier for us to send that link around, and people can watch that in their own time, so that we've just got a few minutes now for people to ask their questions.
While you have a think of the any questions you've got, I can give you a quick synopsis of what the Green Homes Grant is. So for any homeowners or private renters, there's an up to a £5,000 contribution of 2/3 of the energy cost towards either a ground source heat pump or a major sort of insulation option, or that I think they've got solar thermal in there as well, which is a less used one. Then once you've got a tick in that column, it then opens up a further column of extra financial contribution through the Green Homes Grant you're eligible for, which then is, what have they got in there? They've got double glazing, they've got a smart thermostat. Oh, I wanted the smart thermostat. But then there's a couple of other things in there as well, so that's all going to help reduce the carbon footprint of your home with regards to energy. There's also, if you're on a low income and you're a homeowner, you can get to a full contribution of £10,000 towards your home, and that could be contributing towards something like solid wall insulation, or a new ground source heat pump to replace an inefficient, sort of probably 9 years or older gas boiler. So this is on at the moment. There's been various debacles about the whole scheme, which you could fall down a massive rabbit hole on the news sites, but have a look at our little video. But if you've got any quick questions now, do ask.
Yeah. Shall I maybe hand back to Amy to take hold of the reins now? I think that's fair.